The Chase Sapphire Preferred and the Chase Sapphire Reserve are two of the most talked about travel cards on the market, but one has a hefty annual fee and the other has a much lower annual fee. So is the Chase Sapphire Reserve worth that hefty annual fee? Let's find out together. What this truly comes down to for each of these two cards is how you use this card and how you spend the money. You may think the Chase Sapphire Reserve is the better card for you because it has some higher end perks, but that's not always the case. And for most people, you need to get more than the value out of the card to obviously make this worth it. Some people get the Chase Sapphire Reserve, they don't use it the right way, and they end up losing money on that annual fee. And then some people can get a ton of different benefits out of these cards and make it way more worth it than what that annual fee cost is. So I'm going to show you this chart on the screen so that you can see the differential between the two so that we can start comparing each of these cards. So first of all, we are going to look at the annual fee. And if you look at these two different cards, we have the Chase Sapphire Preferred and the Chase Sapphire Reserve. The annual fee for the Chase Sapphire Preferred is $95. And if you've seen our Chase Sapphire Preferred video, you know that that $95 is really easy to recoup every single year. Most people will make way more than that utilizing that card. And so it's very easy to recoup that money. Now, the Chase Sapphire Reserve is a very different annual fee of $550 every single year. And if you get this card and you think you're going to call up Chase every single year and try to get that annual fee waived, that is not going to happen. So that is one key thing to note here. Now, there are earning rates for each of these cards, and the earning rates obviously shift. So with the Chase Sapphire Preferred, the earning rates are going to be a little bit lower than the Chase Sapphire Reserve. In fact, most of the time, they're going to be cut in half. So if you're looking at the Chase Sapphire Preferred, it is 5 points per dollar on travel purchased through the Ultimate Rewards portal, whereas the Reserve is 10 points per dollar on hotels, car rentals, Chase dining purchased through the Ultimate Rewards portal. So that's a big difference between those two, is the 5 points per dollar and the 10 points per dollar. And the Chase Sapphire Reserve also adds dining to that. Now, on the Chase Sapphire Preferred, you get 5 points per dollar on Lyft through March 2025. And on the Reserve, you get 10 points per dollar through Lyft through March 2025. On the Preferred, you get 5 points per dollar on Peloton equipment and accessory purchases of $250 per more, with a maximum earn of 25,000 points through March 2025. And then it just doubles up on the Reserve for 10 points per dollar, $250 per more, with 50,000 total points through March 2025 on the Reserve. Now, as we go to the Preferred on the dining at restaurants worldwide, we get 3 points per dollar on dining in restaurants worldwide and online grocery purchases and select streaming services. So on those online grocery purchases for the Preferred, it does not include Walmart or Target. So if that's where you buy your groceries online, a lot of Americans do, that may not be the best option for you to think through when it comes to those online grocery purchases. It's not all groceries, this is just online grocery purchases. Whereas the Reserve is 5 points per dollar on flights purchased through the Ultimate Rewards portal as well. Now, 2 points per dollar on all other travel and 3 points per dollar on dining and all other travel is what the Reserve has, compared to the Preferred's 2 points per dollar on all other travel. So if you dine out a lot, this may be a better card for you as the Reserve if you can make it out, but you really have to be dining a lot to make that work. Now, 1 point per dollar on everything else for both of these cards. So if you're not using a lot of these Chase Sapphire Reserve spending categories, then the spend limits may not be a reason for you to get this card. There may be some other reasons, but that's not the main reason. Now, one big thing that is always very surprising when people see this card is the sign-up bonus, where the Chase Sapphire Preferred and the Chase Sapphire Reserve both have the same exact sign-up bonus at the time recording this. So 60,000 bonus points after you spend $4,000 on purchases in the first 3 months from account opening for both of these cards. And it used to be, and sometimes this happens when they're running special promotions, that the Reserve had a much higher bonus. It used to be over 100,000 points, but typically right now these have the same exact differential there. Now, the value for Ultimate Rewards travel redemptions also goes up. So it is a 25-cent differential. So the Chase Sapphire Preferred, which is actually 25 cents higher than the Chase Sapphire Freedom, is $1.25. And then the Chase Sapphire Reserve is $1.50 for those Ultimate Rewards travel redemptions. Now let's look at some of the benefits though that come along with these cards, because there are a lot of different benefits here available that you can look at and utilize. So with the Chase Sapphire Preferred, you get a $50 annual Ultimate Rewards hotel credit. So if you book hotels through that portal, you're gonna get a $50 annual rewards credit to book a hotel room. Whereas the Reserve, and this is where you can really make up some of the money if you're booking hotels, you can make up half of that annual fee, is a $300 annual travel credit. So that is one portion where if you're going to be using this card for travel, now you're reducing that annual fee $300 from the $550 annual fee. You're now bumping that thing down to $250 in annual fees. So you got to think about that as you go through this. Now, another benefit to the Chase Sapphire Preferred is you get a 10% anniversary points boost, meaning that whatever amount of money that you spent in the last year on that card, they're going to give you 10% boost on that within points. So if you spend $25,000, you get 2,500 points added to your card. Whereas the Reserve also has global entry, TSA pre-check application fee credit for up to $100. So you get TSA pre-check for free on that card. Now with the Preferred, you also get DoorDash and Dash Pass subscription, which is something that I am definitely going to be utilizing going forward in the future, because you get that subscription. I think that subscription costs about $10 per month last I checked. So that's a $120 value for that one. And then on the Reserve, you get complimentary 2-year Lyft Pink All Access membership. So that is another perk to there if you use Lyft a lot. And then also on the Preferred, you get a 6-month complimentary Instacart Plus membership when it comes to the Preferred. And you also get the DoorDash membership and $5 in DoorDash credits each month if you use the Reserve. So if you use DoorDash a lot, you're going to knock that down by $5 every single month in addition. So that's another $60 in rewards and perks that you can add up towards that monthly spending limit. And then you also get the 1-year complimentary Instacart Plus membership on the Reserve as well. Now, the Preferred and Reserve both have a $10 GoPuff monthly statement credit through December 2023. So that will be lasting for a little while longer. Now, lounge access. If lounge access is a big thing for you, you're a big traveler, the Chase Sapphire Preferred has no lounge access. There's no lounge access available when you have that card. But when you have the Reserve, you have lounge access to Priority Pass Select and Sapphire lounges on any lounges that are around the country. So if your airport or the airports that you frequent have either of those lounges and you like going into lounges, you have those available to you. Now, authorized user fee for each of these cards is going to be $0 if you use the Chase Sapphire Preferred. So if you want to put your kids or your spouse as an authorized user, you can add them on to your card at a $0 fee. But if you have the Chase Sapphire Reserve, you have to add $75 for each user per year. So it adds a total annual fee of what a Preferred would be. So for someone who is utilizing those cards, it's almost better to just have your spouse open up a Preferred at the same rate, because the annual fee is just a $20 less to have the Preferred, and you get all the perks of the Preferred. Now, when it comes to the Preferred the Reserve welcome bonus, like I said, it is exactly the same. So that is one big differential that we like to talk about a lot, is that it is really exactly the same. So the ultimate rewards points for this bonus for each of them is going to be about 2 cents each, making this bonus worth right around $1,200 when you're eligible for that welcome bonus. Now, one thing to consider is when you open up these Chase cards is the 524 rule. Now, if you don't know how the 524 rule works, if you've opened up 5 different cards within the last 24 months, you're not going to be eligible for these bonuses if you open up this card, and typically they won't even let you open up the card. So making sure that you haven't opened up a bunch of different cards before you use this is going to be very, very important. If travel hacking is your strategy and opening up a lot of cards is your strategy, you may want to open the Chase cards first, because they have this rule, and now a lot of card issuers are also opening up this rule. So you got to make sure that you understand in that piece there. So they have a tie when it comes to welcome bonuses. So that's one thing that you want to make sure that you note as we go through this. Now, the difference in benefits, like we just talked about, is where the Reserve shines, because with it, you'll get that $300 annual travel credit, plus you'll get lounge access, and you'll get $100 to that TSA pre-check. And it comes with that complimentary 2-year Lyft Pink All Access door membership if you want that, and all the other things that we talked about earlier. So the benefits are the reason why you would get that card, is all those additional benefits, where the Preferred comes with a handful of benefits as well. I think the Preferred benefits are absolutely fantastic. That's one reason why I like that card. And with it, you'll get that $50 hotel credit. You'll still get a DoorDash Pass subscription, the Instacart Plus subscription. You'll get a bunch of other different perks that come along with it. So it just depends on what really matters to you when you look at these two cards. Now, I want to look at the travel protections for these cards because obviously most people that use these cards are going to be utilizing this for travel. And one big perk to having credit cards and using credit cards instead of something like debit cards or cash or whatever else you would use is that you get these travel protections. So you want to make sure you are utilizing credit cards when you're traveling because you have a lot of protections available. So let's compare some of these travel protections here to see what the differential between the two are, because if you really are worried about travel protections, you're traveling a lot, this is going to be imperative for you to have some of these. So when we look at the Chase Sapphire Preferred, we're going to look at rental car insurance first. Now, a big pro to having these credit cards is that you have rental car insurance. And so with both these cards, with the Chase Sapphire Preferred, they both have primary coverage. Now, with the Preferred, it covers up to the actual cash value of most rentals, excluding those high value and exotic cars. If you're going to get an exotic car, that is not going to be the same. But the Reserve has coverage up to $75,000 for theft and collisions. Now, you got to remember this. This does not cover liability coverage. This only covers the damage done to those vehicles. So you got to make sure that you remember that. Roadside assistance for both these is that the Preferred is a pay-for-use situation on roadside assistance, whereas it's up to $50 per incident for the Preferred. With the Reserve, it's up to $50 per incident, up to 4 times per year. Now, trip cancellation insurance. This is a big one. A lot of people love to use this. It is very, very nice to have this in your corner when you use these cards, as you get trip cancellation service. So if you have to cancel a trip because you're sick or a number of other different factors, they will reimburse you up to a certain amount. So with the Chase Sapphire Preferred, you're going to have up to $10,000 per covered trip. With the Chase Sapphire Reserve, you're going to have up to $10,000 per covered person, up to $20,000 per covered trip. So you get the double coverage there if you have to cancel a trip. If you've had to cancel trips a lot in the past, maybe you're a really busy individual, things come up, things happen all the time, then maybe that would be another reason that you look at the Reserve. Now, we also have trip delay insurance. Now, this is a very cool perk that comes with both of these cards. With trip delay insurance, what happens is that if you are delayed longer than 12 hours, you're going to be reimbursed by these cards. If you need to get a hotel, you maybe need to get some food or something along those lines, whatever is causing that delay, they will reimburse you up to $500 for those delays. So here is for the Chase Sapphire Preferred, we're looking at up to $500 per ticket for delays of 12 hours or more, and the Reserve is up to $500 per ticket for delays up to 6 hours or more. Really cool perk there because a lot of us have been delayed for 6 hours. It's a very common thing. And so you can get your food, all that kind of stuff reimbursed. Just make sure that you save all of those receipts. Now, baggage delay insurance. I just went on a trip with a friend whose baggage was delayed 4 days coming into town, and then baggage was delayed over a week when he left. He just had the worst luck when it came to his baggage. So baggage delay insurance is something you definitely want to have in your corner when you are traveling. And so when it comes to the Chase Sapphire Preferred, up to $100 per day for up to 5 days for each delay. They'll reimburse you for things like toiletries, cell phone accessories, clothing, those types of things, and up to $100 per day for up to 5 days also for the Reserve. Now, when we look at lost luggage reimbursement, if they completely lose your luggage, they have no idea where it went, you can get lost luggage reimbursement through these cards if you have issues with your airlines. So you can get up to $3,000 per person or up to $500 per person for jewelry, watches, cameras, video recorders, and other electronic equipment when it comes to the Preferred, and you get the same exact thing when it comes to the Reserve. Now, emergency medical and dental. If something happens on your trip, do you get emergency medical and dental? With the Preferred, you do not. And then you get up to $2,500 if you get sick or injured on a covered trip with the Reserve. Now, travel accident insurance. This is if somebody dies or loses hearing or speech or something on your trip. Up to $500,000 for common carrier loss of life benefit on the travel accident insurance for the Preferred, and up to $1 million for the Reserve. And then your purchase protection. This is a wonderful, wonderful perk that most people don't talk about. But when you buy something online, for example, you get purchase protection through these cards. I love this perk for a lot of things. I know people who have used this a number of different times. So if you purchase something and something gets damaged or you have to put a claim in, you can get up to $500 per claim, up to $50,000 per year. You purchase a brand new pair of headphones. Those headphones do not work within 60 days. The store will not reimburse you. You can go to Chase, will reimburse you for those headphones all the way up to 90 days after you purchase that item. So really cool perk there is purchase protection. And then you get up to $10,000 per claim on the Reserve. So if you're going to use purchase protection, you're a big baller, you're going to be buying some expensive stuff, then up to $10,000 per claim, up to $50,000 per year when it comes to the Reserve. So if you're going to make some big purchases on a card, the Reserve is a great backup plan to have that available. So when it comes to all of these different perks, these travel perks, obviously the Chase Sapphire Reserve takes the cake on this one. This would be reasons why you would actually get this card, is because some of those perks, and that is why the annual fee may be worth it for some of you if you can find find value in all of those different perks. Now, when it comes to earning points with the Sapphire Preferred plus the Sapphire Reserve, we talked about this earlier. It is double on the Sapphire Reserve. So if you're doing a lot of spending on these cards, the Reserve may be a good option for you because you have that high spend. You get double the amount of points. That will definitely cover the annual fee if you're doing really high spending on there with the Reserve, because you get double the bonuses in most categories. So that's going to be one where if you get those double bonuses, you definitely want to make sure that you are looking into that as well. Now, both of these have a ton of different transfer partners because you are using the Chase Travel Rewards portal. They both are able to transfer to a bunch of different partners. Really cool, easy to transfer. This is a complete tie between the two for transferring to these partners or transferring points around different cards because they have the same access to all of the different cards. Now, the question you need to be asking yourself is, which one should I get? Should I get the Chase Sapphire Reserve or should I get the Chase Sapphire Preferred? Well, let me tell you what I did. I have the Chase Sapphire Preferred. I used to have both of these cards, and I did not get enough value out of the Reserve that I would if I traveled more. I have not been traveling as much as of late. Lifestyle has changed. I have two very, very young kids. So when I traveled a lot, I got the value out of the Reserve, but now I've moved back to the Preferred because I don't travel as much as I used to. Now, I still use the Preferred for free trips. I get multiple free trips every single year with the Preferred. Still use all those additional travel benefits. But if you are going to be traveling a lot, if you're going to be using a lot of those benefits, if you're doing high spend dollars on these cards, then the Reserve may be worth it for you because you're going to make way more than that annual fee and make that money back. So really, the way you have to think about this is, are you going to make back more than the annual fee? Are you going to make back the annual fee plus the additional amount that you would have for the fee differential on the Chase Sapphire Preferred? So you really got to think about that, think through that, and it really depends on the person on which one you should choose. Personally, the one I've held both in the past. The one I hold now is the Chase Sapphire Preferred. So I hope this video helps you guys on making your decision between these two. Try to line up these perks side by side so that you could see them, and really excited for you to make your decision. As always, we have these cards linked up down below, so make sure you check the links down below. This really helps out the channel, helps us continue making these videos so that we can inform you as much as we possibly can. Listen, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and we will see you on the next video.